Today, we'll be doing an oil change on a 2018 Kawasaki Z400. We're going to be using the Factory Racing Parts oil change kit. The tools that we'll need for this job are a 17mm socket and ratchet, an oil filter socket, drain pan, and rags are always handy as well. The kit will come with 3 quarts of our fully synthetic 10W40 oil, a new crush washer, and a new Factory Racing Parts oil filter. First step will be for us to remove our drain bolt using our 17mm socket and ratchet. We have our drain pan positioned under the drain bolt, ready to catch that oil when it shoots out. And once we get that bolt off, we want to make sure that we also get the old drain bolt washer. Sometimes it'll get stuck to the oil pan. And while the oil is draining, we're going to go ahead and remove the filter. We're going to use the filter socket and the ratchet to do that. And once we get it loose, I like to then wiggle off the tool from the filter. It makes it easier that rather than using a hammer to whack it off later. Then we just thread it off by hand, and then I like to check and make sure that O-ring is still on the filter and then attach itself to the engine. And then we're going to go ahead and fill up the new oil filter with some oil. And once we get it filled with oil, we're going to then spread some oil around the top O-ring. And we're going to just thread it on there by hand. Now, when tightening an oil filter, I don't like to use a filter socket if necessary. Bikes like this, where it's easily accessible, I like to just get a rag, get some brake clean or carb clean, something just to clean nice firm grip on there. And then you're just going to go ahead and tighten that filter as tight as you can by hand. The next step will be to replace our drain bolt, making sure that we get our new drain bolt washer on there. Then we're going to take our 17mm socket and ratchet to tighten that down. And I always like to point out that the drain bolt washer itself does 2 things. Yes, it does seal the washer, but it also helps to act as a torque cushion to prevent you from over torquing or over tightening or stripping the drain bolt. So once you start to feel that washer collapse, you can go ahead and stop. Now we're ready to add our oil. For this bike with a filter change, it takes 2.1 quarts of oil approximately, which I have here in my nifty spouted container. We're going to fill that oil up until we have just a tiny little bubble at the top of the sight glass. And then we're going to go ahead and start the engine. And as the engine runs, we're going to be watching that sight glass for the oil to circulate. And we're just going to be watching the oil disappear out of the sight glass, which is a good sign. It means that we have oil pressure, oil's flowing through the oil filter, and everything is good. So after giving the bike a few minutes to settle down after shutting off the engine, we have our oil level right where it needs to be at the top line. So there you have it, an oil change on a 2018 Kawasaki Z400 using the Factory Racing Parts oil change kit. These instructions will apply all the way up to the 2022 model year. Thanks for watching.